of the cost of what it would take us.
So it would cost.
It's saying we need to invest significant amounts in the infrastructure of our schools.
So, Minister, let us, when you say infrastructure and technology, how many laptops is in the system for teachers?
As of the last count, a little over 18,000.
So 18,000 new laptops or some old ones?
No, man. We use e-learning to do our.
So it's brand new laptop.
When the teachers get the laptop, it's brand new. In fact, they get an electronic voucher, and they're able to go to an authorized dealer. Yes, to pick what it is they want. I mean, there's an amount that's allocated. They pick if they want a higher version of it, then they'd have to pay that extra money to get the higher version.
So who won the laptop? The minister or the teacher?
There's a period of time that if you're in the system for, I believe it's 5 years, you get to own it afterwards. But if you leave before that, then you have to turn in.
As long as you're working in the system, you get a laptop?
Yes.
All right. So do the children get laptops too?
Yes, our PATH students that are in high school, we've targeted them for laptops. We would love to be able to do more of that, but that's where we are from a budget perspective right now in terms of being able to target PATH students in high schools for laptops.
All right. So laptops in schools, laptop for students. How many schools have computer labs? Is that, the number?
That is a topic that I could talk about all day. All our high schools, and we have about 185 high schools, were outfitted with state-of-the-art laptops for their labs.
When?
Over the course of the last school year, towards
last year to this year?
In this year, in 2023, all that happened.
So so you have 100 and how much schools again, Minister?
185.
185 schools, and each of them would probably have a lab of about 20 computers or 30 computers.
Minister Morgan?
Yes.
We put it out to the schools that we're going to upgrade the labs, outfitted with new state-of-the-art laptops, and we asked them.
To tell you how much they want.
We asked the schools how many.
So the schools have been getting.
We gave them exactly
what they asked
for.
Okay.
Every one of them.
So I'm gonna start asking you some questions that persons are asking on social media. One of the questions is, why can't people wear any type of hair they want to school?
In life, there are boundaries, right? It's not anything goes in schools. We still have to have order, discipline in school, but in recognizing that we have a particular culture, in recognizing our identity around hair and so on.
School minister. More on that.
What we have to say to our students in our primary schools and our high schools. Reserve that pink hair for when you get to college. You could wear any color when you get to college.
No, but it's a serious question, because there are persons who are saying, why we have so many rules in schools? Why we don't let the kids them do anything with them want? Why we don't allow them to wear dunce bag? I remember when the dunce thing started a year ago, I come out.
We were at a church. Remember a church service?
Yes, it was the launch of Youth Month.
Yeah.
And I spoke out against the dunceness, and they make song about me. No, we have people that wear dunce bag go to school. But seriously, Minister, why we need to stop this dunce thing? What damage is it gonna do to our children?
Words are important. They convey meaning, especially to when directed at our children. They're vulnerable. They don't know how to distinguish between reality, what they should do, what they shouldn't do. And as adults, we have a responsibility to guide and protect them and allow them to grow up.
But why would a parent send a child to school with a bag that said dunce on it?
I wonder if the parent can't read. You know what I mean? I don't know. Because if they saw the word dunce on the bag and they understood that they're sending a very negative message to their children. I don't think they would.
You think that there is a thing in Jamaica where people are glorifying ignorance? I don't know if it is becoming trendy for you to be.
Well, I hope they're not. I hope they're not glorifying ignorance. We want all our students to embrace being, academically and socially, brilliant in all aspects of their lives. That's what we want to encourage in our schools. You know that in order for the Jamaican economy to expand and for us to enable our people to be earning way more than they're doing now, we have to uplift the education and the skills of the population so that we can attract those kinds of jobs.
That they should bar students who come to school to do so?
No, they shouldn't. Barring students is against everything that we stand for.
So do not block
Jamaica.
the students, but what do you do as a principal?
We listed a number of strategy for our principals. Engage the students, engage the parents, have them, write an essay as to why they shouldn't be walking around with this dunce bag. But also I heard that the artist who sang that song has come out and categorically said the bag should not be in schools. That's I heard. I didn't actually hear it myself, but someone was relaying this to me that he actually said, no, the children shouldn't be coming to school with that label on their bag.
Somebody says that, and I'm just gonna ask questions while we're doing that. Clancarty doesn't have a sick bay. Can the ministry look into that?
Oh, absolutely. And in fact, I am planning to be at Clancarty very soon, within the next week or so, because if you recall, some years ago, there was an incident there with the garbage truck.
Right.
We finally got that sorted out.
Oh, really?
Yes. So the truck will no longer come into the school ground.
Right.
We've created a new entrance and exit for the truck. And so that situation, which was so unfortunate, will be avoided going.
Teacher asking, when will the Kingston teachers get laptops?
Oh, we have been distributing laptops. I know that e-learning is still in the procurement process, and in short order, they will be sending out the e-vouchers again to the remaining set of teachers because we're focusing on our high schools now.
Somebody says you need to visit schools without the school knowing that you're coming.
I've been popping up at schools. I've been doing that, and I will do more of that. What I'd love to do when I go to schools is begin to engage more with our teachers, to listen to our teachers, to hear from them. What are some of their concerns? How can we serve them better? Because obviously we want our teachers to remain in our classrooms in Jamaica. The global phenomenon that's happening around the world in terms of teachers exiting the classroom in countries that are way richer than ours, in the United States, in Canada, in the UK, and in terms of finding replacement for those teachers, those countries have looked to countries in the Caribbean, such as Jamaica. So we have to continue to manage that situation. And so it's important for me to be out there with our teachers, understanding what the issues are that they go through on a day-by-day basis, but also to bring solutions to the table for them.
As you mentioned teachers, though, why does the Ministry of Education and teachers have such a bad relationship? Or does the Ministry of Education and teachers have a bad relationship?
Well, since my tenure, during my tenure, I'd like to know that I have tried to foster a very good relationship with our teachers directly. I've been advocating that we communicate with them directly. I've advocated for significantly more professional development for our teachers. But as you know, teachers are represented by the Jamaica Teachers Association in terms of their compensation and so on. And during the periods when there are negotiations, generally you get an environment that's on the surface.
By the way, this is the largest
antagonistic.
amount of people I've ever watched this program. We have 400 and odd people watching the live now.
All right. Hi, everyone.
so everybody wants to talk about education.
Yes, because education is, I mean, everybody, it touches on everybody in Jamaica. There's no child, no person, no adult person in Jamaica who cannot claim affiliation with a school, who doesn't know
somebody says
that's going to school. Yeah.
Somebody raised a very important point here, and I want you to address it, Minister. They said, I think it's Corin's Art and Craft Supplies. My grandkids live in Riversdale and go to school in Spanish Town. He reaches home minutes to 8. Why is it that children who live so far have to go so far to school? And what can the ministry do to help a parent whose child has to go from Riversdale to Spanish Town?
Okay.
That's a long time.
So Minister Morgan, what we have in Jamaica in terms of where children go to high school, we allow parents and the child to choose the high schools. There are three variables that are going to determine which high school you go to. Your PEP score, the higher your PEP score is, chances are you'll get your number one choice. So
the school you choose is where you basically, of the 5, I think you get 5 choices.
No, 7.
7
choices.
So Minister, if you're, let's say your child chose a school that is 20-30 miles away, can the parent intervene with the Ministry of Education to get that child transferred to a school closer to home?
No, the Ministry of Education does not intervene. Right. We go through a process that's very transparent.
Right.
We use an external provider to help us to do the placement. So I was saying 3 variables, which would be your PEP score, the number of spaces in the school to which you're going to, and there's a 3rd variable which I'm sure will come to me as we talk.
Right.
And at the end of the day, when you get that information, it's the combination of those 3 variables that decide where you're going.
So what if your child?
So if a parent now, based on their circumstances, then they would have to go directly
to the school.
So the ministry does. You can imagine the pandemonium that would happen.
So the ministry cannot force a school to take a child.
No, absolutely, and we do not.
We're powerful, and the most can force a school.
No. We have a system in place. It's very transparent. It can be audited. You can see it.
So you, as minister, cannot go into a school and tell the principal you need to take this child now.
I've never done it.
But you're the powerful minister.
No. That's not how I operate. I operate within systems, within the processes and procedures that we have at the ministry, because of the magnitude of the education system. If you don't operate in terms of the procedures you lay out, the processes and so on, you're courting disaster.
Why aren't more skills training afforded in schools other than cooking and welding?
There are.
That's what somebody says. Chrissy asked why is only cooking and welding.
They have others. Other skills training.
Well, I know in some schools are the auto mechanic. I know in some schools are the woodwork. I know some schools are doing. I think you have this computer thing that you're doing now, right, Minister?
We've introduced coding in schools.
What is that?
Coding is a machine language. It's a language that your computer, your phone, your laptop understand, and we are teaching our children. We're making them aware. We're giving them exposure to it so that they have choices in terms of the pathways that they go to as they grow older.
So we have 3 questions. Why is it that children who are slow learners are not getting help in schools, and after graduating right now I don't know what to do with my son? Help.
I would need some more information, but I know what we have been doing. We have been targeting our intervention more.
Right.
So from as early as age 4, we are doing assessment of children who are 4 years old to help us to see if there are any early signs of, let's say, slow learning or other special needs issues. As we move on to grade 1, you do another assessment there to see how ready the children are for grade 1, and that allows us to do targeted intervention of students. These results we will begin to see in the years to come, But I know that there are children in the system right now that we really need to kind of pull out from their class, have them in small groups, and allow them to catch up with the rest of the class.
Somebody
that's
asking,
what we'll be doing more of.
Why is it that schools? Who is this? Cynthia is asking, why are schools charging for path lunch?
They shouldn't be charging because the schools get grants for path.
So path lunch is not supposed to be paid for?
Not as far as I know. The schools get grant to provide lunch. We ask that the schools use the school cafeteria to provide the lunch, because when you do that, you can do it on scale, and so you're able to provide it cheaper. What we've also done recently is to bring on cooks and so on staff.
So, Minister, you're saying that schools are not supposed to charge children for path lunch?
Not as far as I know, Minister, because that's the purpose of providing the grants to schools, and to ask the schools to utilize the cooks that we pay for to prepare these meals in our schools.
Well, the other person is asking, Melrose School has intervention for slow learners. I don't know which school is Melrose. And this person is asking, what age can a child go up to, or old? What's the oldest a child can stay in school?
Okay, up to 18.
Age 18. Which brings me to the whole pathways thing that your new initiative.
Yeah.
So you have this new initiative where if you didn't necessarily do, well, not necessarily not do well, but different paths
for success, for educational
works first.
So traditionally in our school system, we've had the pathway to tertiary, and for that you needed to have 5 CSEC subjects, including maths and English. That still exists, right? But if you look at the numbers, maybe 8,000 students fall in that category, or so 8 to 10,000
who pass everything,
right? And they're able to go to tertiary.
Right.
There's another 2/3 of students when they got to grade 11, they may only get 1 subject, 2 subjects, no subject, or so on.
So if you get 1 subject, what happened to you?
So then we were saying to students, stay in school for another 2 years. Learn some more. So
you're giving them an additional opportunity.
And what we saw with this year's CSEC, we saw an additional 2,400 plus students from these additional pathways who took the
So
CSEC
basically, it's a second chance for students?
Unless a second chance is yes, and we're saying that in the most positive way possible.
Right. So let's say I don't want to go in the pathway. Do I have to go in the pathway? Me get my 8th subject. I can just go straight to university.
Of course, we have those institutions that are beckoning students to come, and in fact, I'm going to be speaking with one of them that's very interested in preparing, having an interim year to prepare students to go further in tertiary. And it sounds like a great idea that we need to explore. So if you're in school and you decide tertiary is the route, you can do that as well.
There's somebody who's asking, when are early childhood teachers going to get improved salaries?
There is cabinet submission that's making its way through the process, and Minister, that but it is something that I'm committed to. I know the practitioners have been asking, and when you look at their situation, I have to advocate for it. Of course, it's the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service that makes the ultimate decision. But our submission, our cabinet submission, is making its way.
Why are schools charging a bathroom fee? This parent says every Monday morning my son pays a bathroom fee. What's a bathroom fee?
A bathroom fee?
What's a bathroom fee, Minister?
To use the bathroom?
Apparently.
Oh, no. Please send out the name of the school so that we can do an investigation right away.
A bathroom fee?
No, not bathroom fee. Oh, come on.
So tell me something now. The other question I want to ask, and it's a burning topic, the pay of teachers. do teachers get good pay?
Minister, we have stayed clear of the salary issues for teachers.
Aren't you the ones who decide what teachers get?
No.
Remember,
the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service has
so
charge
people
of the public sector, the entire public sector. That ministry went through.
So hold on, asking the question. So it is not the Ministry of Education that decides teachers' pay?
No, we do not. We execute.
Oh, you pay them, but you don't decide what they pay.
We don't decide what's paid. That's
so why is
the purview
it?
of the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. We support the process. We provide the data. They need to know how many teachers, what levels of expertise are these teachers, where would they fall on the band, and so forth. So we provide the technical expertise. But at the end of the day, this was all part of the public sector wage transformation, or the compensation review that happened.
So the Ministry of Education doesn't negotiate teachers' salary, but
JTA negotiates with the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service.
Okay, because there's a lot of misconception that is the Minister of Education pay the teachers.
No, we make the payment,
right?
But after it has been decided by the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service.
What are you doing to help retain the teachers? Somebody's asking, what is your teacher retention policy?
Oh, so like this morning at the post-cabinet press briefing, it was a delight to report to Jamaicans that we have 14 institutions that train teachers.
So 14 teachers colleges, basically.
Yeah, teacher education institution.
So how many teachers a year you produce?
Annually, 1,200.
Right.
But there is capacity in the institutions for more. So we're going to have to look at more scholarships. We're going to have to increase the awareness about the opportunities that are available, so we get more persons interested to come into the education sector. We know that the place of work for our teachers needs improvement. Again, to go back to the infrastructure issues. Yesterday, I was at a school and I went into the staff room, and you could see that there was a need for more space in the staff room, a need for better cooling of the staff room. And so making their work conditions nicer is how I put it. It's one low-hanging fruit for us to tackle as we tackle the infrastructure question in our schools. Providing ways for them to get certification when they do the professional development, so that they are, climbing up.
So do we have a shortage of teachers, Minister?
They're in certain areas, certain key areas. So mathematics, the science, and now we're here in English language. You have gaps that exist, and it tells us that we need to provide more scholarships for persons to go into those areas. We do have a small program right now where annually there are 50 scholarships that we provide, but I can see us, I can see the need for us to expand that in order to get persons in those critical areas.
Why are schools charging $20,000 for registration?
That is unconscionable. $20,000 for registration.
That's what somebody said.
No. The government has a non-mandatory fee policy.
Right.
But every year we see where schools continue not to abide by that policy. As member of parliament, and you are a minister, the people who come to us with the vouchers, and they are, tears in their eyes because they can't pay the 20 or 30,000 that these schools are charging. We have been saying to our schools, you can't turn anybody away because they're charging a fee.
So schools can't turn you away because you don't have the money?
No.
So they can't lock you out?
They cannot lock you out either. And we're asking schools to deal well with our parents. Parents are willing to contribute, and we support.
How much money do you spend per child, like every year?
If you just look at the grants that we give to school, remember the government pays for teachers, pays for the administration, the buildings are the government's. We do the maintenance. We provide for electricity. We provide for internet.
So why are the schools charging auxiliary fees then?
There are some schools that do provide some services, some goods and services. And in those cases, like, for example, you know, you have to buy an epaulette. Some of them offer insurance policies. There's an amount that goes to the PTA and so on. We encourage parents to make a contribution towards their children's education, but it is non-mandatory.
But I want to ask you directly, Minister, can a school not accept a student because the parent cannot pay the $20,000?
Categorically, no. And
so what does a parent do if they end up in that situation?
We need to know, as a parent, as a Ministry of Education, no child should be denied education because the parent is in a situation where they can't afford the fees in an environment in which it's a non-mandatory fee policy.
So, question: can schools use things like the book rental scheme to force parents to pay?
No, because remember, the government provides these books to the schools, and no principals, school administrators should not be using those things to deny children.
If people have issues that they want to get advice on as it relates to the schools, whether the school charging a bathroom fee or a janitor fee, who do they call?
I know their first step should be to seek out the school board and to make it known to the school board, so they in turn can be speaking with the principal. If there's no redress at that level, you have to escalate. Education officers come into schools. We have regional directors. Then we have the central ministry.
So they can go to the region and complain?
Yes, and do that. But I can see for there to be an easier way for parents to get to escalate these complaints, and for some body of persons to be dedicated to just tracking and resolving these complaints, because there are just too many of them in the system.
So you're thinking about setting up a complaints reporting system?
We have to do something like that. We have to do something like that because, if you depend on persons who are working at the ministry, who have their full-time job to do and so on, sometimes these complaints take a bit longer than I would like to see to see them dealt with. And so I believe it's time we have that entity where their sole focus is to deal with the complaints that parents bring in to them and to get resolution for those complaints.
This parent, I think, is done one life. No school wants to accept my 5-year-old who has a speech impediment. Where can this parent go?
Oh, wow. If the parent is in Kingston, I'd suggest they come to the ministry. There is a unit at the ministry specifically charged with dealing with special needs students. And yes, I know we need to expand the resources that are available, but at the very least, we can ensure that there's an assessment done of the child in terms of the particular need, and we try as best as we can to ensure that that child finds the proper school. There is a great need in our system for the needs of special needs students, and as we bring greater awareness to special needs, we're seeing parents come forward. Because, traditionally there's a stigma attached if you have a child with special needs. But now in 2023, we're promoting mental wellness. We're promoting reduction in the stigma associated, or elimination of the stigma associated with special needs children.
Okay, so the question is, Minister, I have a son going to university who should graduate in 2022. From 2022, he has not, because he has taken leave of absence. Many times, because I can't afford to place for him to stay in Kingston, he was going to find with online, but it's no more. What must I do? I can't afford fare every day from Manchester to Kingston, and student loan giving runaround. Help me, please. We want to finish to go work. For somebody like that,
sounds like a special situation,
right?
Yeah, and I would happily accept an email from the person just outlining the situation.
We will get an email from them. Yeah. What is the ministry doing about chairmen who are destroying schools in the name of politics?
I'm gonna.
I don't know if it's true.
I don't know. I don't see that from where I sit.
Right.
I see a process at the ministry where we, on a quarterly basis, as we are about to change boards at schools, we have sensitization sessions with our members of parliament to walk them through the process of how boards are selected, what we're looking for in our board chairs, and so on. Recently, we launched a platform that requires our boards to upload their minutes so that we have a good look at what are the issues under consideration, and it lets us know if our school boards are in fact meeting. We have streamlined the administrative process, so when school boards come up for renewal, they happen on time. Very few schools, if any, are without a school board now, because I take governance seriously. So I don't, it's not a widespread situation. I know there was a situation in the past, one or two, but we're not seeing, there's a perception out there.
Tell me something.
Politics is dominant in our schools, but from where I'm
sitting, I don't have that experience. But you said something recently about Rastafari and here. Can you tell us what that was?
Right. So we have put out our draft dress and grooming policy into the education system, so we get any final comments, final reaction to the dress and grooming. We want to promote or we're promoting how should I say it, Minister?
Our indigenous culture.
Yes, we want.
So if I am a Rasta, I'm a Rasta student, what can I do in school? What can I wear?
Well, we are saying to schools, you should not require that student to cover.
So I can flash my locks as a student now.
Well, I give you still have a responsibility, obviously, to make sure you turn up at school.
What about female Rasta students?
I never thought there was a requirement.
I don't know. I'm just asking.
That has not come to my attention that there was a requirement for female Rastas.
So you have this grooming policy. What is it that you have it out there for people to give their comments?
Right. So we want, before we finalize it, we want Jamaicans to have a chance to look at it, to read it. It's available on our website in electronic format for our schools, or principals, or teachers, or students, or boards to look at it, because we present to them to our schools, a framework within which they develop the school level dress and grooming policy. So when we look at their policy, for one thing, they have to have a written policy. We can assess it in terms of what they're requiring, and they need to go through a process, meaning a consultation process, with their parents, students, teachers, and other stakeholders to decide within their own context on these issues. So, for instance, the central ministry would not take it on itself to decide what color a school wears.
But can the Ministry of Education tell a school principal what to do in terms of grooming in the school? If a principal decides that he will not allow any fade, can the Ministry of Education tell him to accept anything?
All right, so that's a good question. The principal should not make a unilateral decision about that.
Right.
We are saying engage the process, meaning bring your PTA, bring your student rep, bring your different stakeholders together and present it to them.
So the PTA, the student rep, and the entire school should decide what the standard is.
Present it to them, get to consensus on it, because I guarantee you, if you have consensus around it, you will see greater adherence.
So we have
to that.
1 minute left, Minister. How many new schools are you building?
Right now, we're dealing with the issue of just space requirements. So we're adding classrooms, we're de-shifting, but we're also moving on the track of building a STEM school. We have a location already, and in Kingston, there's another location we've identified in St. Anne.
How many STEM schools you plan to build in all?
7 total.
7 STEM schools. And that's how much student each of those going to hold?
2,000.
About 2,000? You're going to be boarding our day school?
Boarding is an interesting topic that we need to consider because, just of how far children travel to school and so on. And it is a good thing to provide. For
Final question.
Well.
If you, how do you want to be remembered as a Minister of Education?
Well, the proof of the pudding is in the eating,
right?
And it's the student outcomes.
You want better grades, better students,
yes,
and no dunce bag in a school.
Absolutely.
And that is it. Love 101 FM, the family station. Fayval Williams, the largest viewership on any live that we've ever done. I don't know why Fayval is so popular. I never get so much views. Thanks to everyone who asked questions. Thanks to everyone on TikTok. Thanks to everyone on Instagram. Thanks to Nadine. Thanks to all our friends on Facebook. We really appreciate you every week. Thanks for your questions. This has been Good Morning Minister with the great Fayval Williams, girl from Ty Dixon. Bright woman, go foreign and go Harvard and Wharton. Me pronounce it right? Wharton. Hey, I don't know go Wharton about you know.
I wouldn't say that, Minister. I would not say that.
This has been Good Morning Minister on Love FM. See you next week, 11 o'clock, next week Wednesday.
All right.
Signing out. Nadine, take it away.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Minister. Thanks for coming.
Rescued me.
Thank you so much for listening to Good Morning Minister, brought to you by the Office of the